Okay everyone, while the easy egg breakfast casserole is cooking in the oven, I'm going to show you guys how we make our apple cinnamon breakfast crepes. Now, these crepes can be used with a variety of toppings. We have done it with blueberries, strawberries, peaches, and apples. Since it's the fall, you guys know that apples are in season. So we are going to take advantage of this and use apples to our advantage. So, in a small to medium sized bowl, you are only going to need 4 ingredients, okay? And the 5th ingredient is optional, so you can completely leave it out. So, I originally got this idea from a YouTuber. Her name is CandidMommy. You can check her out here on YouTube, but I am making a healthier version of her crepes because this one is dairy free. That's your option. I don't know about making it egg free, but it can definitely be dairy free. So let's go ahead and get started. In this bowl, I'm going to add in 1 tablespoon of melted coconut oil. And you can use vegetable oil, not olive oil that has too much of a strong taste. You can use canola oil, but I'm using coconut oil. And this coconut oil is expeller pressed, which means it does not have the coconut smell or the coconut taste. You do not want this batter or these crepes to have a coconutty taste. It's really not going to taste well. So you want a flavorless oil is what I'm trying to say. So a tablespoon of coconut oil. And like I said, I'm using expeller pressed. Do not use virgin coconut oil or extra virgin coconut oil because you will have a coconut taste. So to that 1 tablespoon of oil, I'm going to add in 2 eggs. And these are the same eggs I used for my casserole. And they're local brown eggs. And the company, I don't know if I mentioned it before, is called Quail Cove Farms. And they have a website, quailcovefarms.com. Check them out if you're in this DMV area in North Carolina too. So I'm going to whisk the oil and the 2 eggs together really well. Okay, just takes a minute. Now I'm going to add in 1 cup of freshly ground, because I have a wheat grinder, a grain grinder, a Nutri-Mill grain mill, and I have half whole wheat pastry flour and half white whole wheat flour. You can use traditional hard red wheat flour, hard white wheat, kamut, spelt, whatever flour you guys have. And if you don't have a grinder, which I highly recommend to have fresh tasting nutritious flour, then you can definitely use store-bought flour. CandidMommy originally used all-purpose flour, but I'm using wheat flour like I said here. So you're gonna need 1 cup of whatever flour you guys like, and you can make it gluten-free by using a gluten-free flour. So I'm gonna add in that 1 cup, whisk it together with the eggs and the oil, and it'll be very, very thick, but still try to go ahead and get it incorporated. See, it's getting very, very thick. So as much as you can. And now you're going to need 1.5 cups of milk. Today I have soy milk. You can use whole cow milk. You can use coconut milk. You can use almond milk. Any kind of milk that you guys like or that you have in your house. So this is the dairy-free part by using soy milk. So 1.5 cups of that. And you're going to slowly incorporate it into the flour, the eggs, and the oil. Let me get it off my whisk here. And this batter will make about 12 crepes. That's how much it usually makes for me. 10 to 12. But usually I come up with 12 unless I make them extra large and then I end up having only 10. So you're going to slowly, because otherwise that milk will splash everywhere. Just slowly incorporate it. And it'll take a minute, but not too long. Whisk, 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 whisk. Okay. And my kids really, really enjoy this apple cinnamon one because they love fruit regardless, but they love apples and cinnamon. I mean, most people do, right? It's like having an apple pie for breakfast, but it's not very sweet. So if you can see here, I'm whisking. You're trying to whisk to get rid of as many of the lumps as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. You could even run it through a sieve or a fine mesh strainer, but that's just an extra step in dirtier dishes that I don't want to have. So I just leave it like this. So I'm going to whisk, whisk, whisk. Okay, and it's pretty much almost there. If you guys can see, it's very watery looking right now. But we are going to let this mixture sit for 15 minutes. So you can do this a little bit in advance while your casserole is baking in the oven. You can do it before you put your casserole in the oven and let it sit for 15 minutes and then cook it up. And that way you'll have it ready for when the casserole comes out of the oven. But mine's already in the oven. I'm going to let this sit for 15 minutes while I make the topping and the filling for our crepes. So I'm just trying to make sure that I don't have any big lumps, any major lumps in here. So this is what it looks like. And I'm going to let it sit on my counter for 15 minutes. And I'll be back to show you guys how to make the filling and the topping for our crepes. Stay tuned. Alright guys, really quickly, I'm going to show you how to make the filling for our apple cinnamon crepes. So it's a 3-step process. I've already showed you how to make the crepe batter. I've already showed you how to make the topping. And now I'm going to show you how to make the filling. Some people like to fill their crepes with fruit. My family really loves cream cheese, so that's what I like to use. In this bowl, this small bowl here, I have 12 ounces of organic cream cheese. So that's a 1 full 8-ounce package and half of another. So 8 plus 4 equals 12. So to this bowl, this is softened cream cheese, room temperature. You can either soften it in the microwave for like a minute or leave it on your counter at room temperature for about 30 minutes. So to this, I'm going to add some local honey. If you have a honey allergy, you can use powdered sugar. You can use maple syrup. You can use agave nectar. Whatever you have in your pantry or whatever you like to use. So I'm going to add about 2 to 3 tablespoons. And it's supposed to be lightly sweetened, not heavily sweetened because the topping is sweetened. But you don't want it to taste like plain cream cheese either. That's pretty disgusting. Unless you were making a savory crepe, which they can be made savory with spinach and cheese and tomatoes and chicken. But I think that's about enough. So it looks about 2 tablespoons to me. Just eyeball it. No need to get out a measuring spoon and get it all sticky. So I'm going to take my mixer here, my hand mixer, and mix it up until it's smooth. And I'll show you guys what that looks like. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It only took like a minute to blend it up. So it's nice and creamy. It's lightly sweetened, not overly sweet, because you just want a light sweetness, like I said. So I'm going to cover this with plastic wrap, sit it in my refrigerator until I get done making the crepes, because you don't want this to get thin. You want it to stay nice and thick and fluffy. So when I come back, I'm going to show you how I finish up the topping, and then we're going to put these crepes on the griddle. Stay tuned.